Hello and welcome to another Home Butler demo tutorial video. Today I'm going to show you a new feature upcoming in version 1.11 onwards called Debug Web Interface. This should help a lot of people with any troubles they're having getting the driver up and running to diagnose them themselves. And if they can't work out what the problem is, you can then send the details through to myself and we'll get you up and running. So I've just got Integration Designer open with the demo file I created in the basic tutorial. If you haven't watched that video yet, I recommend you do. And we're going to look down the bottom here at the Debug Web Interface option. So if we expand that, pretty simple, you can enable or disable it. On customers' systems, once they are up and running, please do disable it because it does use quite a lot of system resources. So you don't want to leave that enabled on customer systems. But if you're having any issues, definitely turn it on and we can work out what they are. So by default the port is 4321. You can enter any number you like in there if that port's already in use on your system. The port number must be greater than 1024. Once you've done that, you simply just need to go to the URL of your processor and with a colon, and this is your port number. If you don't know the URL of your processor, there's a few things you can do. From Integration Designer, provided you're connected to the same network and your processor's up and running, you can go to Communications, Show Devices on Local Network, or even Send to Device. It will give you a list of your processors and their MAC addresses and IP addresses. The other option is in the Home Butler driver, I've added a system variable called Debug Web Interface URL. If you add that to any panel, like a virtual panel, so I've simply dragged that across into here, it will give you at runtime the actual full URL of your Debug Web Interface. So I've already got this up and running. If we jump across to a browser here, this is my IP address, port number, and loads up the Debug Web Interface. So at first you'll see obviously the big red warning, please leave this disabled on client systems. You really do need to leave it disabled because it will slow their systems down unnecessarily. Next you'll see on the left all the information about the current system, just to check you're running the correct system and your details are right, MAC address, firmware, blah blah blah. You also get your system uptime, which may be handy, and the amount of free memory. This is a good one to look at if you're using high levels of startup resources because it will show you that the processor is using too much memory. On the right hand side you've got information about the driver, obviously the name, the version. Your license keys will appear in here. Currently I haven't got one, so it's just trial version. Your license status, which will say trial and when it's going to expire. This one's been running for a while now, so it has expired. System status, server status, all basically the same as the system variables you'll get in a virtual panel, but it's just easier to see them all here. Last raw command, last process command, command threshold. Scroll down a bit further, you'll get a log. This will log anything to do with the Home Butler driver. So normally this information is only available to developers, but I've enabled it into here so you can see what's going on with the driver. There's basically just a pile of heartbeats in this one because it's been running for quite some time, but any commands you speak will also come through here as well. Scroll down a bit further, you will get your macro assignments. This one is very handy. This will show you what the system has actually assigned. So each macro, what it thinks it is, what source, what room. Currently we've only done AV, so it's only showing that, but your lighting, blinds and everything else will show up in there as well. In the bottom right corner you've got a couple of buttons. Update data now will just simply refresh the data currently, but you can set it to do it automatically. So by default it's going to update every second, and you can see by the clock over here that it is updating every second. If you click that, you've got a little drop down box. I can change that to 3 seconds. You'll notice the clock now will stop and only update every 3 seconds. You can also disable that altogether, which will lighten the resources on your processor, but obviously you won't get any information about what's going on. You can just click update data now whenever you want to update the data as well. So I'd leave that on every second when you're debugging, unless you've got a lot of data coming through that's chewing on the processor, and then you can slow it down a bit. The last option you get in here, so if you can't work out what your problem is using all this information, you can send me an email with the diagnostics information automatically filled out. So click this button here. First of all you'll get a little warning window. Due to the way the email is crafted from the processor, I can't fill out all of the information, so I will fill out the basics, and then you need to copy and paste across any log information you want and macro assignments. This basically just reminds you of that. So click OK. This will open a mail to URL, so your default mail client will open. If you don't have one set, then you'll have to set one before this will work. So you can see on my system here, it's filled out the subject line with your MAC address, full system information, driver information. Then a little reminder here to copy and paste anything from the log or macro assignments that you want. So if we just tab back to here, scroll down, say these log lines are related to the issue you're having, you can then either right click and go copy or use Control C. On a Mac I think it's Command C, but you should be using a PC anyway. Copy and paste those, so you just put them in there like that, and then back to the macro assignments. Now you can copy the entire table if need be, but if you're only having an issue say with the living room, you can just copy the living room data. Just make sure you do highlight the whole box, because otherwise you'll lose this table formatting and it will make the email hard to read. So if I go into here and paste that, you'll see it brings in the table. Now don't be alarmed that they all look blank, it's because the text is white back here, so you can't see it on the white background. If you highlight it, you can see them. You can also change the color of the text. I'm using Gmail, may vary on your client, but to be honest you can send it to me in white and I'll fix that up. That's basically it for the diagnostics. Hopefully that'll help a lot of you get up and running with any small issues you're having, and feel free to let me know what you think. Thanks very much for watching.